Hello, this is not your chem tutor, and in this video, I will teach you how to find the molecular formula of a compound from its empirical formula. So if you're still not familiar with molecular formula and empirical formula, then you can watch my other video. I will put the link on the description box. As usual, I put examples in this video so you can have some practice. Let's proceed to example 1. The empirical formula of a compound is P2O5 if the molar mass is 282.5 grams per mole. What is the molecular formula? So we are given the empirical formula, P2O5. We are also given the molar mass, which is 282.5 grams per mole. Whenever you are given these types of question, the molar mass is always given in the problem. Otherwise, you cannot solve the molecular formula if the molar mass is not given. Okay, so let's do this step by step. Step 1, you need to solve the empirical formula mass. The empirical formula mass is just the molar mass of the empirical formula. Okay, so our empirical formula is P2O5. So we need to solve the molar mass of P2O5. So there are 2 phosphorus. So 2 times 30.97 grams per mole. Plus, there are 5 oxygens. So 5 times 16 grams per mole. And if you solve this in your calculator, you will get the empirical formula mass, which is equal to 141.94 grams per mole. So this is your empirical formula mass. Number 2, you need to solve the ratio. The ratio I'm talking about is the ratio between the molar mass of the compound and the empirical formula mass. So in the problem, we are given the molar mass, which is 282.5 grams per mole, divided by the empirical formula mass we got from step 1, which is 141.94 grams per mole. And if you solve that in your calculator, you will get around 1.99, and you round this up to the nearest whole number, which is 2. So the ratio between the molar mass and the empirical formula mass is 2. So what do you do with the ratio? You will multiply the ratio to the subscripts of the empirical formula. Again, you will multiply the ratio to the subscripts of the empirical formula. So our empirical formula is P2O5. So when you multiply the subscripts by 2, you will get P4O10. So this is the molecular formula, and this is the answer to the question. Let's proceed to example 2. The empirical formula of glucose is CH2O. If the molar mass is 180.156 grams per mole, what is the molecular formula of glucose? So we will just do the same steps as what we did in example 1. So step 1 again is you need to solve for the empirical formula mass. So our empirical formula is CH2O. So there's 1 carbon, 2 hydrogens, and 1 oxygen. So the atomic mass of carbon is 12.01 grams per mole. There are 2 hydrogens, so 2 times 1.008 grams per mole. There's 1 oxygen, 16 grams per mole. By the way, these atomic masses, you can get them from the periodic table of elements. So if you solve for the empirical formula mass, this is equal to 30.026 grams per mole. Step 2 again is you need to get the ratio. The ratio is the molar mass divided by the empirical formula mass. So our molar mass is 180.156 grams per mole divided by the empirical formula mass, which is 30.026 grams per mole. And if you solve that, you will get the ratio, which is equal to 6, exactly 6. And then what you do with the ratio, again, you will multiply the subscripts of the empirical formula by the ratio. So CH2O is just the same as C1H2O1, right? So if you multiply the subscripts by 6, so times 6, C1 becomes C6, H2 becomes H12, and O1 becomes O6. So the molecular formula of glucose is C6H12O6, and this is the answer to the question.